We want to compare Afghanistan culture and treatment of women with the treatment in the West. And it's quite shocking. So here is a documentary, short documentary put out by the New Yorker. The New Yorker is a famous publication in the United States, tends to be liberal, and they profiled the Taliban. This came out a year ago. You can see this video on their YouTube channel, and it says, "A look inside a Taliban courtroom, swift justice." So let's watch this and react to how they treat women in Afghanistan.
د شریعت د باندې حق چې دی لکه غربیان چې وایي چې دا حقوق دې ورکړل سي هغه زموږ په شریعت کې نشته.
ما بالکل همدغه شاهدان دي، شاهدان از خلک محکمه قصاصي
برای موټر چې ګوره مانه د پاوا کړی برای چې پاوا دي برای موټر
چې د دنه مات نشته دی پلا بوست اما بس ته دوی به دغه کومه بس به واسطو بر سبب جدي راسي چې
زبل نه پیژنم به دم را
خیر در کې لازم په کې بارے وو یا چې
دا اصل د
په شریعت کې زموږ د ملک زنانه
In Sharia, our women, the women of Afghanistan,
د افغانستان د مسلمانانو زنانې هغه په دې باندې مأمور دي چې دوی به خپل د خاوند خپل د زوج اطاعت کوي. شاید شو تبت صدقه
maybe some women doesn't like this particular Maybe some women don't like this particular rule of obeying the husband, and they say, I'm imprisoned in my own home. Sharia is a house where everyone's rights are protected.
څنګه خبر ورولري طالب ته کې داسته نور سلیمیږي دې شاپیه د خور دې خاطر نږدې.
Okay, so there's a father and he has his daughter Shafia, and they're in the courtroom, and then there's the judge, the qadi there. And this is also in one of the villages in Afghanistan, by the way. I'm asking for the woman to come to our house. So this is the guy, the person speaking is the guy in blue here in the front, and he is the brother-in-law. This is the father of Shafia. She's saying, my daughter's husband died. Her brother-in-law wants to marry her, but she does not want to marry him or anyone else in that family. So the qadi asks him, why do you want her to come to your house? And then another family member from the in-laws says she should marry one of us. And if she doesn't want to do that, she should just live there with her children. Meaning she should just stay in the house of her dead husband, just stay there and not get remarried. Then the father says, they want to keep my daughter by force. This is the judge. This is the qadi. He says, you're a young woman, sister. God has established that marriage is a good thing to do. So the qadi asks her, what do you want to do? These men are vultures. They live to take others' inheritance. So she's not really mincing her words. My children are sick. They're hungry and thirsty. I don't want to marry any of them. So the judge says, come back tomorrow and we'll finalize the case. So what is the judge going to decide? That's the cliffhanger. We just want to, what is the judge going to decide in this case? Is he going to tell Shafia that, no, you have to marry your brother-in-law, or your in-laws have rights over you? Or is he going to side with the father and the daughter and say, no, you can make your own decisions? Streets. That's the father. Then that's the brother-in-law. Our life was ruined when my brother died. We haven't mourned properly when he died, and now her father is dragging us around. I've left my work, spending all my time in the courts. Before the Emirat, before the Taliban, a woman would marry into a family. When her husband died, her brother-in-law would marry her. She had no autonomy. So the perspective of this father is that before the Taliban, women had no autonomy. She would marry into a family, and then if her husband died, she would have to stay in that family and marry a brother-in-law. So this is actually found in Judaism. It's called levirate marriage. It's based on the Bible, levirate marriage. And also aspects of this are found in Hinduism as well, such as niyog. It's a different version, but a similar idea. So this is a kind of practice found in a variety of different religions. Her father said that he was not going to give her to me. This is the brother-in-law again. Meaning that she would live with him. So I said, okay, fine. She doesn't want to marry me. How about marrying her to my nephew or my brother? If she's married to one of them, they can do whatever they want. And I won't be able to help her. It pains my heart. This is the brother-in-law. First, I lost my brother. Then they took the woman from me. So he thinks that Shafia is his property. Have you ever heard anywhere that Sharia allows a woman to leave and refuse to marry in the same house? Have you ever heard of the Sharia ever allowing this? Sharia says she shouldn't leave her house, her home. Even if she's drowning in her home, she can't leave. If you are here to tell us that this woman should stay in your home, it's against the Sharia. So the judge is clear. Like, what you're talking about has nothing to do with the Sharia, that she has to stay in your home. Look at the guy's face. He's like so perplexed. Like, what? What are you talking about? So this is Shafia. She's saying, there was even blood money from my husband. They didn't even give me a single bill. They didn't give me any money. So they actually they stole my inheritance. He says, shut up. Stop it. 62,000 rupees, and they took it and they give nothing to my children. They just appropriated her money that she was owed from her husband. And then he's saying, oh, he had a lot of debt, that's why we took it. You're lying. You're making things up. They're all liars, stoners, and heroin addicts. Yeah, so I thought Afghan women don't have a voice. I thought Afghan women under the Taliban don't have a voice. She's like in the courtroom shouting these guys down, calling them stoners and liars and vultures. Why did she go to court? Yeah, maybe because you're like stealing from her and trying to forcefully marry her. Maybe that's why. It was not appropriate for her to sit in the same room with all those strangers. So the judgment came, and he's not happy with it. So he's making these kinds of oh, she's sitting with other men. How dare she? She shouldn't be allowed to speak. We should just be able to decide her case. So this is jahl. This is jahl from people who don't know like Sharia, like what the Sharia actually requires and the rights of women. But the Taliban here is upholding their rights. And the thing is that even before the Taliban had control of the country, the people of Afghanistan would prefer to go to the Taliban because they knew that they were just. They couldn't be bought off. They couldn't be corrupted. And they would stick to Quran and Sunnah. They would stick to the Sharia of Allah. And that gave them a reputation of trustworthiness, a reputation of being just and fair. And that's why people prefer to go to them, even if they weren't necessarily the most religious themselves. But they wanted to drink from the cool spring that is the Sharia of Allah. And the Taliban is the one that has been upholding that in Afghanistan, even prior to when they had control of the country. So I'm imagining these documentary makers from the New Yorker, they're video recording all of this, and they're like, well, that's a twist ending. I didn't expect that. I expected the judge to say, yeah, go, how dare you speak? How dare you speak against your brother-in-law? Women can't speak. Women don't have any rights. You're just property. You're just a piece of meat, and we don't care. You have no choice in the matter. So this was a twist ending from the New Yorker. So this is the judge again. Shafia, according to Sharia, has the right to decide her fate. She has the right. She chooses. It's up to her. And the brother-in-law is shaking his head like in disbelief. It's like, this is a joke. He probably thinks these Taliban are so liberal. These Taliban are just feminists. You keep telling me to come back to you, says Shafia. You're oppressors. You're oppressing me. So the judge says, you want to live with your father? She says, yes, I want to live with my father. The court orders you not to bother this woman at all. And you should avoid the pre-Islamic dark age practice, jahiliyyah. This idea of that, the widow has to marry the brother-in-law or has to stay in the house. Islam has abolished this. A widow has the right to choose. She can choose who she wants to marry or not marry, where she wants to go. She has the right to choose. Treating a woman as inheritance. This is jahiliyyah. This is pre-Islamic ignorance that has been abolished. And then he said, the brother-in-law is just shocked. If you give a woman freedom, she'll do whatever she wants. And look at this profound statement. The court and the Sharia say, you do not have the right to say this woman should marry you or come back and live in your house. There are things in Islam and Sharia that some people disagree with. It's possible that Westerners condemn the Westerners condemn the Taliban's treatment of women. We don't care about their or anyone else's condemnation. We don't fear or we don't care about the blame of the blamers, as the Quran says. And then the New Yorker puts, under the Taliban, women continue to be denied basic human rights, education, and opportunities. Okay, I promise you want to watch this whole thing because it gets crazier and crazier the more he talks.
Me agreeing to get an older woman pregnant and then her trying to ruin my life. When I was 23, I had a one-night stand with a girl from my hometown named Maria. We both knew it was nothing more than that, and we didn't speak after.
Oh, one-night stands. What a beautiful right for women to just sleep with whoever they want. Amazing.
Several months later, I received a text from her saying that she hadn't been lucky in love and she wanted a baby before it was too late. So she asked if I would get her pregnant and I wouldn't have to bear any responsibility, like a sperm donor. I considered it and I first thought no, but after some time to think about it, I thought it'd be the right thing to do for someone struggling.
It's the right thing to do for someone struggling. This guy is the complete opposite of the Taliban. The Taliban doesn't give women any rights, but this guy, this hero, this white knight is thinking, I gotta help out this poor woman, this older woman who wants a child. Why not?
So we filled out an ironclad agreement and, basically I wouldn't be responsible at all. A while later, she told me she was obvious.
Nothing could go wrong. Nothing. I just signed an ironclad agreement that I would not be responsible if she got pregnant.
Ovulating, and then a few weeks after that, she told me she was pregnant and it had worked. I went back to California for work, and we didn't speak after that. Unbeknownst to me, she contacted my family behind my back and invited them to the baby shower. They then began getting dinner or whatever regularly, and as she got to know my parents started encouraging me to be in the baby's life, and once I found out it was a little girl, I thought it was the right thing to do.
So do you see what's happening here? She said, oh, no strings attached, no commitment. I just want to have a child. I'm getting older. Clearly, I'm not married, and there's little chance I'm going to be able to find someone at my age. Just give me a baby and you won't have any commitments, no responsibility. No, I'm not going to require you to do anything. Here we can sign an ironclad agreement, a contract saying all of this. And then immediately she gets pregnant and she invites his family to the baby shower.
I flew home to be there for the birth, and I got a tattoo of our daughter's middle name before she was born.
Oh, what a creative middle name.
After our daughter was born, Maria wanted us to be together and be a family. And when I said I didn't want to do that, she wouldn't let me see my daughter. My main source of income at the time was the Airbnb that I owned. And she said this a few months after she was born. I felt bad, so I let her move in for several months.
I need to move into your house for 2 months. So he's full on like taking on the role of provider. He's providing them a place to stay, probably giving her a lot of money as well.
Rent-free. Once she moved out, she told me this: I've never done anything to warrant supervised visits, but I agreed to keep the peace. I would come home as often as I could to see our daughter, and things were usually okay when I was there. These are all from her Facebook.
So she is making him pay who knows what, like rent, her payments, probably giving money for the child. And then she doesn't even let him see the daughter.
One Halloween, I didn't want to wear matching costumes with Maria, so she wouldn't let me see my daughter for a while. And when our daughter was being baptized, I drove a 14-hour round trip from Nashville to attend. And because I didn't want to see Maria the night before, she didn't allow me to come to the baptism at all.
He's not even married. Okay, there's technically no like legal requirement that he has, because I don't think she's taking him to court, but she's restricting him from seeing his daughter and has all these expectations. You didn't dress up with matching costumes on Halloween. Okay, you're not going to see your daughter for indefinitely. You didn't hang out with me at night, therefore you're not going to see your daughter. Like, look at this kind of oppression. Like, this makes me think that, you know, that brother-in-law in that other documentary about the Taliban, he was right. Give women freedom and they can do whatever. They can do whatever. This is what happens.
Soon after this, she served me with child support, saying that our original contract wasn't valid because our daughter didn't have a social security number yet. And I didn't fight her on it. I didn't have the time. I was living away. I ended up paying her $10,000 up front and $750 a month.
Wow. So she sues him for child support, and this is kind of like illegal. This is why you can't depend on any kind of contract that you sign with women, because, oh, our daughter didn't have a social security number, so the contract that I signed is invalid. The contract that I signed saying that you have no obligation, that's invalid because she didn't have a social security number at the time. Like, you can, that's the law. That was argued in court, and the court ordered him to pay $10,000 and $750 per month until she's 18 years old, basically. This is justice. This is the justice in the Western courts.
I was able to move home soon after that, and I began seeing our daughter regularly. Everything was going really well until I got a girlfriend. Even though she had a boyfriend who was regularly around our daughter, she said that my girlfriend couldn't be around our daughter. I was able to get...
So she's getting child support. She's getting money payments from this guy, this poor simp. And she has a boyfriend. And that boyfriend is around the daughter. And he can't even see his daughter. And now he gets a girlfriend. And then she gets even angrier. She gets angrier and restricts him even more.
Our daughter for an afternoon. And Maria asked what I was doing. I told her that I was with my girlfriend and we were at Lowe's together. She freaked out. I said I'd bring her daughter back to her as soon as we were done, but instead Maria drove to Lowe's, apparently called my dad, and was running up and down the aisle screaming. I don't know what actually happened, but she was freaking out, just blowing up my phone, thinking she was in danger. And keep in mind, my girlfriend is a mom as well as a nurse. Our daughter was never in any danger. When I offered...
So these are the kinds of antics that you have to put up with when you're a simp. I mean, what other way is there to put it? He's trying to go to Lowe's, it's like a hardware store, to get supplies for whatever, and with his girlfriend and daughter, and then the ex one night stand is coming and making a scene at the Lowe's. This is a nightmare. This is a horror story.
Maria and my girlfriend to get to know each other so they'd be comfortable, with my daughter being around. She immediately said no and, called my girlfriend a word that rhymes with chore and
A word that rhymes with chore.
refused to get to know her.
She refused to get to know my girlfriend. Like, this poor guy is so naive. He's like innocent and naive. Oh, why can't my girlfriend get to know my ex? Oh, they can be friends and we can live happily ever after. This poor my sweet summer child. This poor guy.
Maria then made a public post saying that I was a deadbeat dad and that I hadn't seen our daughter in weeks.
Now she's publicly shaming him. You're a deadbeat dad. He's like, this is like by the way, this is standard, right? This is something standard. It's not even that exotic of a case or far-fetched of a case. Like, this kind of stuff happens every day. And maybe, if you're living in the West, especially, but maybe even in the East, you have family members who have gone through this, like an analogous case. Like, this is what happens when you simp. When you're a white knight.
Here I am with our daughter just a few days prior to this post. I also left my best friend's bachelor party a day early so I could be home for Father's Day, and she still wouldn't allow me to see her. She even said this to my grandmother. She had her friends comment mean things on my girlfriend's social media multiple times, even though my girlfriend has never been anything but nice to Maria. Because Maria tends to do this, I want to make sure that she doesn't twist the story and make it seem like I abandoned our daughter.
So Maria is posting on social media, and you have all of her simp friends blasting this guy. You're a deadbeat. You're disgusting. Like, why can't you take care of your daughter, you deadbeat? Just taking the side of the woman. Why? Because women's tears are the most powerful force for simps.
I recently found out that our daughter isn't mine.
Now, buckle up for this.
I don't know who the dad is. Don't twist the story and make it seem like I abandoned our daughter. I recently found out that our daughter isn't mine. I don't know who the dad is, but I've had 2 paternity tests done, and they both say this.
He's not even the dad. He's not even he's going through all of this. $10,000 gone. $750 a month gone. All of this abuse that he suffered, all of this emotional trauma that he suffered, all that for what? It's not even his child.
I believed Maria when she told me that I was the only possible father.
You believed her? Why? Why did you believe her? Is it because you're that naive? You're that stupid?
The situation was weird, but I was always happy to be a dad. I knew that Maria already...
You were never a dad. I hate to break it to you, you were never a real dad.
Knew she was pregnant. She had to have. When she asked me to get her pregnant. I didn't think that was something that someone would lie about to another human being.
I could not even imagine or conceive of the possibility of a woman lying. Women lie? Never! It's impossible. Women are physically incapable of lying. Did you guys know that? That's really important. That's the first lesson that you learn in Simp University. In Simp University, that's lesson number 1. Women never lie. They're innocent angels who only tell the truth. They can only speak the truth. That's the first thing you gotta know about women.
Not only to me, but my entire family as well. Everybody's distraught about this. Maria, I allowed you to paint me as the villain and you as the victim for years to keep peace, but I hope you know that the only victim here is your child.
Okay. So, yeah, it's a sad story, but it's a very common story. And it's a common story because of the legal system. The legal system allows all of this to happen. Man-made laws allow this to happen. When you give these so-called rights to women or so-called rights to men, for example, the right of a man to just sleep with anyone without a marriage contract, this is a right that apparently men are supposed to have in a free society, in a free, just society. Men should be able to sleep with whoever they want. Look at the result. Look at what happens. This kind of horror story, this nightmare, And it could have been much, much worse. Things could have been much, much worse. She could have really drained him in terms like $750 is not even that high of a child support payment. She could have demanded much, much more. She could have also accused him of assaulting her. She could have accused him of sexually assaulting her, of stalking her, like all kinds of different charges could have been pressed against him. And this is the U.S. The U.S. is not even that bad. If it was in the U.K., for example, the laws there are even worse. He actually got off relatively easy. But the point is that he's not getting that money back. He's not getting the money that he's paid back. He's not getting the time back. He's not getting all of those tears back. The crushing pain and suffering of not seeing your daughter, who you think is your daughter, and then you find out that it's not your daughter. Imagine the pain that you suffer. You've grown like such an strong emotional attachment to your child, what you think is your child. You're tattooing yourself. And every waking moment, your child is in the back of your head. And then you find out she's not even my child. That's got to be like one of the worst feelings that a person can experience in life. And that's a common thing. That's a common thing in the advanced, progressive West with freedom and democracy and equality. But how do you prevent these nightmares? How do you prevent these kinds of disasters? Well, you have to put in some restrictions. You have to put restrictions on people. You have to reduce their freedom and their ability to choose. Because if you give people the ability to choose, they make these disastrous decisions. And it's disastrous for him. It's disastrous for the daughter. It's disastrous for society. It's just problems all around. But when things are man-made and you have these man-made laws, then you can't prevent these disasters because men do not have the capacity to understand the wider ramifications and all of the different possibilities that can create these situations. That's why you need a lawgiver. You need the creator of human beings to tell you what is correct, what is an actual right that you have, what law should be in place. And Islam has the perfect system that restricts fornication, that restricts these kinds of relationships outside of marriage, so that you know that who is the father. You are guaranteeing paternity by requiring modesty, by separating the genders. You are requiring or you are making a very modest society. When you have punishments, you criminally punish those who violate the sanctity of marriage because of hudud, because of the criminal punishments that exist within the Sharia, and on and on. This is the wisdom of the Sharia, and hopefully more and more Westerners will wake up and will accept Islam. And will not be fooled by the deception of this dunya. If you had eyes that could truly see, you would look at the documentary in Afghanistan and you'd see gold. You would look beyond what you see with your eyes and you'd see through that, and you'd see the gold, you'd see the diamonds, you'd see the paradise. But if you're just deluded and you've been and the reality has been veiled from you, you look at, the decadent West and you think that is a paradise. When in reality, it's the hellfire. It's fire burning, and people are burning in it every single day all around you. Do you see? Can you see now? This is a post I had on Telegram. If you say yes to college for women, you are essentially saying yes to your granddaughter on OnlyFans. The college to OnlyFans societal pipeline is just a mere matter of decades. I posted this and people went crazy. Some people, even some of these murtadeen ex-Muslims were covering it on their shows. Like, look at Daniel. He's so unhinged. Daniel thinks that giving women's rights leads to OnlyFans. But these are ignorant people that don't really understand reality. And once again, I'm completely vindicated when news came out that this YouTuber, PhD dropout to OnlyFans model, So a famous YouTuber has quit her PhD and become an OnlyFans content creator full-time. She used to make videos about neural networks, about software, the intuition behind the gradient descent algorithm, why convexity matters in machine learning. That's her PhD dropped. No, I actually want to get naked on camera. That's better. 100+ years of women's rights movements just to put themselves right back in the brothel. Right back into the oldest profession. We have to educate our women. Where are we going to have doctors? We need female doctors. Okay, well, you're rolling the dice because maybe your daughter, when you put her in medical school, she'll come out of it as a doctor, or maybe she'll decide it's a better use of her time to do OnlyFans. That's the risk that you're running. You want to roll the dice on that? Go ahead. I'm here just to warn you. I'm here just to talk to you about the societal dynamics and to explain to you where this path that you foolishly are following because you just want to imitate the West because of your inferiority complex and your doubt in Islam, where that is eventually going to lead. I'm here just to warn you. And if you don't want to take the advice, it's on you. I'm not going to be asked about what you decided for your daughter to send her to education, to go into a career or not. I'm not going to be asked about that. You're going to be asked about that. You're going to have to live with those consequences. Not me. So